Welcome to this edition of the BRSN Insider. I'm sitting down with Benedictine College track and field coach Henry Brun. Coach, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So we're going to go all the way back to January 13th, the meet at Doane College. Go ahead and talk about that.
That was us coming fresh off a break. We got back on campus a few days before all the other students to get some training sessions in, and we traveled up there to Nebraska for that first meet. Overall, it was good to see some maintenance from the athletes. When we go home over Christmas break, you're hoping everyone comes back in the same condition that they left in. And it was pretty promising to see that a lot of people did, for the most part, come back in that condition so we could build on that. And there were a couple different instances, performances there where we saw some promise going into conference, which actually for us is next week. So it was a good start to the indoor season.
And you went to Johnson County off of that.
The next week we went to Johnson County. To primarily junior colleges and stuff go. Limited entries because of the tiny facility. Gave us some opportunity to have some of the athletes continue to run and improve on their times. Some of the top tier athletes there got to get the weekend off, but we had some good performances there. Maddie Minard, our top hurdler, she was able to get a couple races in. She won the event there. We had a couple girls go first and second in the 1,000 meters, which was good. Ranked them pretty high in the conference. And just some bits and pieces. We had some jumpers jumping well, and we ran a women's relay just to get a time for conference. So it was a good mid-season competition for them.
Okay, now we'll go back to the most recent meets. Just last Thursday and Friday, you went down to KU and had a lot of success.
Yeah, we went to the Jayhawk Classic, and each year we tend to go and we bring a couple people here or there who hit the qualifying standards to get into the meet. This year we were able to bring 20, which is a lot better than we did the past couple of years. We brought 5 multi-athletes, so we had 2 heptathletes on the men's side and 3 pentathletes on the women's side. They all performed really well. Maddie Minard, again, our top hurdler, this was her first pentathlon. She wanted to commit to trying to be a multi-athlete this season, so we've been working on some different events with her and improving on those. And she came out of there as the 3rd overall best pentathlete. She shattered our school record by, I want to say, 300 points, if not a little bit more. And then she hit the national qualifying standard, and I think right now she's ranked 8th in the country, and she's ranked number 1 in the conference. The other 2 girls who competed, Camille and Shelly, they had some good showings, and they're both within the top 5 of the conference as well, and Shelly's right on that bubble of qualifying for nationals in the pentathlon.
How difficult is that transition to go from just like being a hurdler to being a multi-event athlete?
You kind of have to, one, you have to be athletic. You know, knowing that she has a background in track, she did soccer in high school, she played basketball for a period of time in high school and in college, so we knew that she had the athletic ability to be able to go out there and learn some of these events. But then at the same time, it's just having that mental know-how to go from one event to the other with 30 minutes rest in between, knowing that if you ran really well, great, we had a good performance and great point total. If we didn't, we shake it off and we go on to the next one. So it's not so much physical as it is mental to really get through a day. And with how all 3 of them competed in the pentathlon, all 5 of our multis, but Maddie in particular, she went out there and she ran the 800 meters as the final event, and that was her second 800 meter run ever in her life. And the last time we ran it was at Doane, that first meet after break. She had run a 2:39. We had given her some splits just to kind of get a feel for it, put her in a slower heat to feel for it. At KU, she went 2:28, so she ran 11 seconds faster, and it tells you that, I mean, competition, adrenaline, and just being an athlete comes into play, but mentally going in there and being ready to compete, you can go out there and do some pretty amazing things in the multi-events.
And then after that Thursday, Friday at KU, you went down to Pittsburgh and competed down there.
Yeah, we brought a handful of athletes to Pittsburgh. On Thursday and Friday were the multis at KU. On Friday we had some sprinters and some distance athletes do a couple things there at KU as well. We had some really good performances. Kashonda Rose, who went to nationals last year, outdoors in the 100 and 200, picked up where she left off. She had a season best in the 60 dash where she broke 8 seconds, which she's about 0.15 seconds from qualifying for nationals in the 60 dash. She had a season best in the 200. She broke the school record and put her at number 1 in the conference in the 200. And she's only, I'd say, about the same distance, 0.15, time-wise, which you could blink and that could pass. And she qualified for nationals in the 200. On Saturday, we brought a couple distance athletes. Elijah Green, our top distance guy this track season so far, had a huge personal best in the 3K. He went under 9 minutes, 8:54, puts him in position to contend for that 3K title at conference. We also brought Daniel LaPlante in the 5K. He had a huge personal best in the 5K, put him in good position to potentially score. And then we brought some other people to do some events and just chip away at their season best. Jarrell Rawls, who's our top 400 guy, has been chipping away with his times, and he ran his season best at Pitt State. He doubled that weekend, so he ran at KU, then ran at Pitt State the next day, so that we can get a feel for what conference is going to feel like a 2-day meet. Joe Butler, who's been a surprise star for us on the sprint side of things in the 60 and the 200, he's hundredths of seconds away from breaking the school record in the 60. He keeps chipping away. He was 200ths of a second away on Saturday at Pitt State. And then his 200 time keeps getting better and better and better, and he's moving up the performance list in the 200 on the men's side. So it was a fun weekend. We got to bring some of our top-tier athletes to meets we typically don't get to go to in the past, but we've been able to go to now and being able to bring more numbers. So it was a lot of fun.
You guys go back up to Dome this weekend. What are your expectations for that?
It's the fine-tuning meet. So I had a talk with the team. I had a talk with the coaches. At this point in time, everyone in the conference has competed in their respective events. It's really interesting where we sit going into conference. On the men's side, we have someone in the top 5 in every running event. The 60, the 200, the 400, the 600, the 800, the 1,000, the mile, the 3K, and the 5K. And we've never been that deep across the board. And we've got some field event people who can really do some things to hopefully be top 3 finisher at conference. So we're looking at going into Dome. On the guy side, we're going to run a relay to get a time in the 4x800. They have told me that their goal is to try to qualify for nationals in the 4x8 this year. We got close last year. I think this group of young guys in the 4x8, I think there's only one returner in the 4 that are running, and he's a sophomore, and the other is a freshman. So we're gonna really go after it and see what we can do. On the women's side, it's some people who are on the bubble trying to get into the conference meet. In order to go to the conference meet, you have to be within the top 18 of the performance list in our conference, which is pretty tough. There's 13 teams in the conference, and if everyone's got one person who does an event, that's 13 people right there. So they're looking pretty strong. We're really looking forward to our female hurdlers this weekend. We have 5 of them, and we're hoping that 4 of the 5 can qualify for conference and get in the top 8. And then we've got some just little bits and pieces here with distance athletes trying to work on a little bit of speed, sprinters trying to improve some times, relays trying to improve their seed times, so that we can go into conference and really contend next weekend.
And conference is back up at Doane the weekend after. Does that give a comfort level to an athlete running on the same track multiple times?
Yeah, 2 years ago we did that with the women's team. We came home with a title. So we went there 3 times. It was very intentional that we were going there multiple times, so that when you go to a facility, it feels like your home track. So being able to go there right off a break, being able to go to the week before conference, and just hash out all the stuff you got going on trying to go into conference, then showing up again knowing, I know this track in and out. I know where I need to make a move. I know how I need to perform in my field events. And I think it gives us an edge, above a lot of the people in the conference to be able to go there multiple times and compete.
All right, Coach. Thank you very much for joining us today.
All right,
Benedictine College track and field coach Henry Brun on the BRSN Insider.
Shakespeare once said, "Some are born great, and some have greatness thrust upon them. The rest of us," he said, "have to achieve greatness." We know exactly what he means. Be not afraid of greatness. Achieve it. Benedictine College, where greatness begins.
Back on the BRSN Insider, I'm sitting down with Benedictine College wrestling coach Marcus Cobbs. Coach, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
We're going to go back and talk about the duel against St. Mary. That was your last home duel. Lost that one 21-19. A very competitive duel the whole way.
Right. As far as the matches are concerned, we got holes in our lineup. So the matches that we did wrestle, we won the majority of those matches. It's just, we tried to play a chess game to try to make sure we won the duel. They kind of made a move that I didn't want to make. We had a guy we're just going to put in at 74, take a forfeit. They threw in a 74-pounder. My guy was underweight compared to that guy, so we didn't want to throw him in and risk injury. And so ultimately, they did get that win. And so a little heartbreaking, but when you look at the bigger picture, I think we wrestled 7 matches. We won 5 of those matches, and so when you look back at it that way, we had the more success, but we did end up losing the duel.
All right, then you guys went to Missouri Valley on January 20th, an event that was very big, almost like a national tournament type event.
Yeah. So the Missouri Valley Invite, that was a great event. We had some success, not the success I expected. We had some guys. I'm not sure if it was pressure or anything like that, but because it is a national like event, all the best teams in the country are there. The best guys in each weight class are there. I believe there's like 8 number 1 guys there from each weight class, and there's 10 weight classes. So we did have Alex Gomez place, though. He placed 8th. He placed over the number 3 ranked guy in the country, ultimately losing his 7th and 8th place match to the number 5 guy in the country. But he had a great showing. Wrestled very well. Like, I've been saying it all season. He's the guy that we need to be looking out for. He's making a lot of noise, and he's actually ranked in the country now. So.
All right, then you guys finished out your dual schedule this past weekend. You guys beat Graceland 25-21.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just this. We put the guys in that we had. We had six weight classes. We had 6 guys. We were forfeit in 4 weight classes due to some injuries. We usually forfeit 2, but due to some injuries, we had forfeit 4, and went up in there and just told the guys, hey, go out there, win your matches. If you win all your matches, we win this duel. And that's exactly what they did. We had 6 matches. We won 5 out of those 6 matches. And not only that, the guys scored major bonus points for us. So it was great to see them go out there and secure another win in a conference win at that.
Who are some of the guys that came up big for you in that duel?
Alex Gomez, once again, at 141. Keenan Graff stepped up big time. Keenan was actually feeling under the weather. But our starter being out a little bit with injuries, he was able to step up to the plate and not only secure the win, but secure the win with bonus points. And he had a major decision against a nationally ranked opponent once again this season.
And you guys finished off a 34-21 loss to William Penn. What did you see in that duel?
Once again, holes in the lineup. I mean, we went out there. We wrestled 6 matches. We won 4 out of the 6 matches. In those 4 matches, those guys put a beating on those guys. We had bonus points. We had a major decision. We had 2 pins and then a tech fall in the wins that we had. In order to win those duels with holes in your lineup, pretty much you have to go perfect. Those guys all have to pin, and if we do lose, we can't give up bonus points. So that's something that we've been working on this week. My assistant coach and I, Coach Scanlon, have stepped up to the plate and explained to these guys, when there's tough matches, we got to learn not to give up so many points. We don't have to give up unwanted points, and that's what hurts us in those duels when we give up the bonus points. If we give up the pin, the tech, or the major decision, the victory is definitely out of reach, especially with the holes.
And then you guys go back to Missouri Valley for the Missouri Valley Open this weekend. What are your expectations for that?
Once again, I want my guys to go in here and show that they can wrestle. The guys that we take to the events we go to, they perform well and they get a lot of wins. And so this is really just a nice little fine tune right before the conference championships, which is our regional/national qualifier. And so get some of those guys who need to get matches in, some of those guys that might have been banged up earlier in the season. This will get some matches in for them, but they should see a lot of success through this tournament, though we still should see a lot of NAIA competition there too.
And what are your expectations for the NAIA qualifier?
As a team, my expectations, I want to place top 3, and I want to take the guys that I take to the conference championship, the regional qualifier. Those guys I want, and I expect to qualify for the national tournament. We are picked 3rd in the conference championship tournament right now, and that's based off of, like I said, we have holes, but the guys that we have in the spots we have are making a lot of noise on the national level and have great records and wrestle very well this season. So I expect those who will be at the conference championship to also be at the national championships.
All right, Coach, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Benedictine College Wrestling Coach Marcus Cobbs on the BRSN Insider.
A wise man once said, "The world offers you comfort, but you were not made for comfort. You were made for greatness." Discover what you were made for. Benedictine College, where greatness begins.